Welcome to a new episode with me, Saskia, the singing psychic medium from Dust of Soul, and the podcast We Talk Frequency. Today we have a beautiful guest, a powerful woman that works with sound, frequency, and healing. So today we have Adrienne here from Sound Birth Studio, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Tell me, how came sound into your life?
Oh my goodness. So since I was younger, music has always been a solace for me. And I feel like it's always supported me unknowingly on my spiritual journey. As my guides have connected me always with music. Now I see now, looking back at even from being younger. So yeah, I was raised in like foster care, and my grandma then raised me. When she got me, I didn't speak a lot just because I had a lot of trauma when I was younger. And I remember music being able to really touch a place in me that was so powerful. I can access emotions. Music found words for me when I couldn't articulate words, or I was scared to, it wasn't safe for me to speak or talk for a long time. And that's always been a very core place in my heart with music, even when I was younger, of always supporting me. And through life and through my journey, I've been an RN for 19 years now. And because I had trauma in my younger life, I was attracted to very chaotic situations naturally, because I was so good at them and they're familiar.
It was kind of your frequency.
Yes, yes.
Because you grew up with that.
Yes, and my nervous system. And so, of course, again, like my higher power and guide supporting me to heal, I became an ER nurse and a nurse on the helicopter, a flight nurse, because I was so good at those environments. I love helicopter. Yes, they're so much fun. Anything adrenaline, my nervous system like understood that, and I was really good at those environments. But you know, I was really great at disassociating. I was really great at handling really stressful environments, but you can't really turn off that switch. Right. So, and also I was doing my own healing with supporting and taking care of people in these really unfortunate situations. And I could
to give the people a safe space. Yeah,
because I didn't have that. And I was so good at holding very dark and very light. And so I actually got into sound healing. I stumbled upon a new moon circle here in LA, and there's a sound bath, and it was out of body experience, and it was no drugs, no altering substances. I just had this familiar remembering. It was like spoke to my soul, and then
like
it spoke
calling.
Yes, and it spoke to that child that felt this holding when I was younger, when I was a solace of music, and not even just written music. I would find connections with birds, songs with the nature, and it seems almost like it's a language that's speaking, even for a long time. And so I felt that again, and it was a remembering. And I was going through my healing transition and journey. I had my 2 girls, I postpartum, and a lot of different things were coming up with my old trauma, and it was just part of my spiritual journey that my sound, my music was like calling me back again. And so I studied with a mentor. I was like, I need to do this. Like
you have to follow your calling.
Yeah, and I was so curious, and I followed this joy, this curiosity, studied with a mentor. I went to her sound baths. I was like, learned from her, and it was a hobby, and this was like 2018, a hobby at the time. I was still nursing in these environments that were very stressful, and I used sound on my own as
as a balance.
For my nervous system, for meditation, and I was connecting on all these ways where I'm like, wow, I feel relaxed, but I was getting these downloads, I was getting these shifts, and then through my own process and working with sound and these beautiful instruments, I was getting the calling of like, you're complete at working as an ER nurse. It's not the environment that supports your further healing. So I had switched disciplines because I was like, oh, this is strange. I'm like not able to be in the same environment anymore.
The universe gave you a new job.
Yes.
Like, okay, now you have to learn how to shift from this kind of like survival mode and also like from this survival mode and the past energy that was still a frequency that you are familiar with into like, wait a moment, this is a new job description. What I'm now doing, how you did that shift from, I think many people, they feel, now I'm done with that. I need this shift. But they are so afraid about the new by themselves, like to let go of the things that they know and that were familiar and many, many years, and also help them to survive into like, okay, but I feel it's not me anymore to shift into the new version that is still, it is a remembrance, but it's still unusual for the body, for the nerve system. So how you did that shift into that?
So it was.
What was your first step?
Well, I was shocked because when I started working with sound frequency and sound bowls and just doing it for myself, I was like, go back to work in the ER. I was getting sick. I couldn't. I was getting dizzy at things that I was like, this is strange. I usually do not have reactions. People were coming in with trauma, car accidents, different things, and I couldn't handle it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do my job. Like, what is going on with me? I'm losing my, I was in ER for 10 years. And it wasn't, I didn't expect to be like, all these things that were happening in my subconscious and my frequency and my path. And then I was like, I don't know if I'm having these reactions. And I spoke to my husband, who's an ER physician. That's how we met. And he's like, well, honey, we're not supposed to be seeing and doing these things every day. Like, this is you're supposed to be affected by this much death. And this is good. This is a good thing. And so I did switch my discipline into
you shift your frequency. There was a shift when you started the sound healing for yourself. So that's the very important point. You always start by yourself. You start the healing for yourself. And that was actually how I started to sing. I always sung for myself. And still until today, when I do a soul song, when we do a group thing, I sing for myself. If people are there, I'm super happy and super grateful, but I would never stop singing. Because I sing still until today to shift my frequency into the next. So when you started with the soul energy, like soul path, shifting with the gongs and with the sound bowls and with your voice, of course, your environment start to react different and you start to react different. That's exactly how you shift a frequency. And then not to stop and to say, because that was the point that you could say, oh, okay, I go back. I mean, that's crazy. I go back to what I know.
I couldn't. My body was like, and my body could not. And I didn't expect that. And it's because I was aligning with a different frequency and I couldn't evolve to where my higher self wanted me to be, that these instruments and frequency were doing, being just on the daily and meditating. I wasn't fitting in that environment anymore. And I did switch my nursing discipline to something a little less stressful. Still stressful. I was in the interventional cardiology where people have heart attacks. They put in stents. It's still very stressful. I was still like wanting to, I was little in my spiritual journey. I was like, I understand I shouldn't be in this environment. So I took a little bit lesser of chaos. I wasn't fully ready to step fully out.
But this is also healthy because sometimes our body needs a moment to step out of old environments. And if you just rip it out, it's a shock for the body. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes you need that shock. I had that with the brain stroke, but I always tell the people, you don't need that drama in your life.
Yeah.
But do your steps
Yeah.
to the new reality. Like you said, you took a step, and then from there you take a next step.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a natural organic growing then into your new version.
And I feel that when I was still in this process and interacting with these instruments and with my higher self or selves and guides, I was supported. A job that was, it was so aligned. It was very aligned to that soft kind of step. And I worked in interventional cardiology, and the pandemic happened.
Right.
And 2020, it was very fear. It was hard for first responders, and I had this pull. I was doing sound as like for women's circles, for my friends, for my girls, myself, just as like say a hobby, and it was more of my own deepening. And in 2020, I was told, I said, what can I gift my colleagues? So I started doing sound baths for healthcare workers on the grass at UCLA and outside in between shifts. I would bring my bowls in between cases, and you'd have surgeons crying. You'd have nurses, like people have no idea. Like, what is this? And I'm like, just lay down. We're going to just take some time, and there'd be tears, and they're like, wow.
They could release frequencies that they were holding from all this very dramatic and intense work that they do.
Yeah. So that's when I was told, I don't know if it's more of the music or the guides or higher self. I was told this is not a hobby. You need to this needs, and I like to bridge the East and the West, because my initial demographic is healthcare workers. And I was told, and at that point I wanted to quit nursing. I was like, I'm going to teach meditation and do sound baths. And my guides said, no, you still need to be here. You need to get this to the people that need it. So I was like aligned, gifted, even a part-time position. It was very symbiotic.
Yeah.
And it's the alignment of the instruments wanting me to do.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I have many people over the years, they have this calling, but then they say, no, now I will be this meditation, and I do sound healing, and I quit my job,
Yes.
And people don't, and then I always say, slow, step by step. But the other thing is, they don't do it because they need the money from that job. And I loved that you said, because I need to be there to support these people and be there for them. That was that, because always I hear, I need the job because I needed the money. So it was always that survival and more like, a little bit, overload of masculine energy. And how you now described it caught my attention, because you said, I need to be there because I need to give also these people still the safe space. But I shifted again my job situation into something else. But I still were there, because so many people, they react like, I have just to go away with that, very in a masculine way. But how you described it felt more like you accept that you're on a new path, but you don't hate your past or your job, and you be there at service. And then money flows, because that's a different frequency when you do it like this. You don't do it just, and of course you get paid because you still have a shift in your job, but the why you go there with your balls and with your energy into your job is a different frequency. It's not only because of the money, of course it's part of it, but the higher energy, the frequency, is because you know your calling and you want to be at service also for your past. And that's very beautiful.
And with gratitude. Yeah,
yes.
because it got me to that point.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And that's very important for shifting your life. It's not to push away your past or to hate your past, to say everything was awful in my past. No, it's to like honor your past. And then I love that you just said that you went there and with your balls and still to support these people and your friends, your colleagues, just be there at service.
Yeah, and I'll tell you,
So
in that
powerful.
alignment, when I decided, when I got the message, you still need to be here. You need to bring this to
That's
hospital.
so
You need to
amazing.
bring it in
Yes,
here.
I love that.
And you know, when I accepted and surrendered that and shifted, like you're mentioning, the doctor in one of my surgery cases was not random, but it was like we were doing he does pediatrics, one of the only ones in the country that does pediatric cardiology in this setting. And he said, Adrienne, there's an opening in the office, outpatient. And I was like, I don't know, Dan, if I'm an office gal. He's like, it's part-time. He's like, you'd be great there with the kids. And he's like, yeah, you should check it out. And I was like, oh, what an angel he is. And I looked it up and I was like, it's part-time. I was working full-time and it's still in pediatric cardiology, much less stressful. And I said, it's
The next
part-time.
step
I was
to the
like, somewhat,
transformation.
I'm like, thank you. I said
Wow.
I'd stay.
Yeah.
And the universe was like, oh, here, we'll make it work for the time being. And after the pandemic, I kept doing sound baths for Nurses Week, for Wellness Wednesdays, for the doctors. I taught a lot of nurses sound healing. So I feel like after 2020 and those shifts were really accelerating when I said yes to, okay, this is bigger than me. I'm just going to say yes and it tells me what to do.
Yes.
And it really just kept making space for me to do these gifts in sound and frequency and meditation. And the people came and people were like, do you train? Can I? And I was like, well, I guess I can. I was not planning to do a training or anything like that. I was like, oh, if these nurses learn sound, they can, it's like ripples. So I was like, I'll train you. And then it turned into me training people and me being a distributor of instruments because people would say, oh, I love your instruments. Where do you get them?
It came all together like a puzzle.
I never wanted to do even retail, but these companies, they were like, oh, would you like to be a distributor? And I was like, oh, I could get a discount for my students because they're it's accessible because they're expensive. And then it just turned into what it is now. And we have our holistic center, Soundbird Center, where we do sound baths, meditation, mindfulness, all frequency sound, whole person based in all these modalities, community coming together. And I actually stepped away from the hospital in July and to work on our center. And
congratulations.
Thank you. But it's just along the way it turned into I was following what I was guided in what I'm needing to do and I cashed out my pension. I was at UCLA for 19 years and with pension and a and it sounds crazy, but I have such strong faith in what I do with music. And it sounds really crazy.
I did the same.
But I was like, I said, I'm going to take my pension, my retirement, put it all into this center because I feel so strongly about the healing powers of sound.
And so why the name Soundbird Center?
Oh, thank you for asking. So when I
saw the owl.
Yeah.
Your logo is an owl.
Yes.
And that was, I saw you on the expo in LA and in this huge expo, and I saw the logo, and I love owls because my dream is to have an owl as a best friend here on the shoulder and then just walk with the owl. And then the people say this is the lady with the owl, and they say and the owl is like no, it's just like I love owls. I don't know why. So your logo caught my attention, and then I found you through the logo. So what is it about the logo and the name?
Yeah, so thank you for asking. So since I was younger, I grew up in the mountains when my grandma raised me, and owls, I would always hear owls. We're in the mountains, but I would dream about them. Like they would come to me in dreams. And even through my life and medicine journeys and things, there's been a figure that's a bird. It's birds, mostly owls. And in shamanic journeys, I have an owl guardian.
Yep.
And the owl is they're very silent animals. They're very silent in birds, but they're very like wise and intuitive, and they're observers, and they're just very powerful but silent in their in their being. And owls have always been like my spirit animal, quote unquote, and birds in general. And my grandma would reference me as a bird too.
Yeah.
And so it's just been my animal. And
it's sound.
Sound.
I mean,
bird.
it is sound.
Yeah,
right?
and it's interesting because people are like, "Oh, you think there'd be a songbird logo, like a bird that sings?" But me personally, I identify with like the owl energy, and I am kind of a mama owl of like can be very nurturing, protective of things. I'm a very internal, like more quiet. Surprisingly, I speak through music, but I am generally a quiet person in my demeanor. So that's where the owl came from.
That's so beautiful. And the thing is, you said the owl is has this silent power. And you know, music would not be that powerful if it has not a pause. So in the pause of the music, there is the power. Otherwise, it would just be there. If there is no pause between the music, it cannot bring the frequency in. So actually, to have this as a logo, so in the silence, in the moment is the power, and then from there you go.
Yeah, that's
and
where
I
the
think,
integration is.
Yes, right. It's an integration moment, and then the next tune comes in, or the next rhythm. But we need this pause to understand or to process in music for our body. So that's why to have the owl as a guard or as a logo is very, very powerful and very a good vibration and very good frequency for that.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's a sitting owl. So it's not like she's not going after prey or like in flight. She's a very, she's a very, when they would come up in dreams or journeys, it's kind of the back of them like a big cloak in the feathers and like just a watchful, strong force that I think has been with me since I was born. So, thank you for asking.
You're welcome. I was always curious about the logo, about the owl power behind the Soundbird Center. And so what is the future? So I read a lot of books about frequency and music. So music actually is the healing medicine of the future. So I believe that very strongly because I healed myself from this brain stroke just through music and singing and vibration. And I never took medicine after the brain stroke or pills or whatever. So I just used my voice and to sing and to vibrate and to listen to Michael's piano to different certain frequency. So now there are books out there and studies, and it comes always even more and more that they found a certain frequency that helps with cancer patients or dementia or so for me, when I have menstruation pain, I listen to a certain frequency. There is an app out there, and it helps my body to relax. It's the frequency of menstruation or something. There is a frequency to sleep, of course, frequency to motivate, but all these different frequencies. So that means when you expose your body to a certain frequency, you can heal. Your body starts to activate their self-healing, and you heal from inside out. And it's so beautiful. And you, with the background of the medicine and as a nurse and with so much experience, what do you think about the connection between music, medicine, and healing? And I think it would be great if you don't take something in, if you just expose yourself to frequencies, and then the body starts to do the self-healing or like alignment with the healing. We had someone, she did a soul song with us, a one-on-one, and after that she told us that her job is before the people go to sleep, before operation, so in the hospital, and she always plays 432 hertz, like relaxation. And she found out that then she has to give less of the
medicine.
Anesthesia? The anesthesia, yes. And when she doesn't play music, they need more. So it's just like interesting how now frequency comes into the field of medicine, and people are out there, they trust in that, and they start to work with that and take that serious. So what do you think about that?
Oh, that is,
or feel about that?
I
it's
do
a better
feel
question.
I feel I have so much to say on this topic. So
the future
yes,
topic,
I mean,
like future.
I'm very grateful that there's more support and research.
And more books about it.
Yes.
More books.
Yeah, and that Western medicine is more open to the modalities in the hospitals because it is, I think it's very factual, and I've seen it firsthand. So when I worked with pediatric cardiology, I worked on the PCTU side, which is the cardiac surgery side, and then I worked on it's called a step down side, and the children are on ventilators to help them breathe. Yeah. And they're on that's their baseline, they're normal, so they're not verbal. But when we would go do studies and go do procedures, I'd go with like an ocean drum and different instruments, and you can tell when there's music or calming things involved.
Right. Yeah.
The heart rate goes down, which is good. They're not as anxious, and you can see it all in factual data on their vital sign machine. We've done a lot of these qualitative studies at UCLA, where when you have music therapy for procedures with kids versus not, and their anxiety level is much greater. So you could see it in the blood pressure, the vitals, the breathing, heart rate. And so there's factual data in how your nervous system responds to music or frequencies. And how I explain it to like medical or rational minded left brain people, it's a very complex process that's happening. So mind, body, and spirit, everything is connected. So it's hard to, it's even more so than saying this frequency is going to equate to this. But I've seen it, and how I explain it is, when you are in a more relaxed state, you have these, when you're in a stressed state, in the sympathetic or fight or flight state, which is common when you're anxious before surgery, or if going through even stress of driving. We have stress everywhere. So your body is having this mass reaction to stress because it wants to keep us optimized and safe and going. So you have stress hormone release. Your cardiovascular system is like constricted. You have more shallower breathing, and that's when you're in this more stress response, and it can cause a lot of health issues over time if you're in that state. So high blood pressure, pain, inflammation, because you have this release of different hormones. So with music, how I have described it to more medical people is meditation music is helping relax into a parasympathetic state, is the rest and digest. And there is a physical immediate manifestations to this in numbers: lower blood pressure, people's heart rate starts to go down, their breathing is more relaxed, which you have a whole physical response in real time to music, to the sound bowls, to even the ocean drum. So I've seen it in real time, and like your friend who's a nurse as well, I have a lot of doctors that are in anesthesia who, even when the patient is going under anesthesia, they'll play music or a sound bowl. And it also makes that transition in that. So it makes a transition with the medication much more pleasant
Gentle,
gentler, which really helps overall outcomes in surgery.
Yeah.
Because if you start with stress and are like, boop, there's this medicine and we're going to this place, it's not. It's
like this shock effect.
Again, it's gonna. The outcomes are actually more poor that we've seen in surgery. Because you're having a stress response off the bat. So. In the hospital, we've seen like patient outcomes optimized, even with like neurocognitive health on a daily basis, music, accessing memories with dementia or with neurodisabilities, with strokes or things that you find that everything is working together to help reduce a stress response. And that's the body's natural, we say natural self-healing abilities is when we're in that frequency.
Yes, when we are in that relaxed.
When it's relaxed, there's so much power to it. But there's also inversely a lot of power in those stress, adrenaline chemicals, but it wreaks havoc on the whole body and the mind. And if you think about it, and this is how I say it to people too, of where I say, we raise the vibes, we're high frequency. What does that mean in medical terms? To me, when we're in a stress response, you want to keep yourself safe. It's evolutionary. So you're trying to keep yourself safe. So you're in a very narrow, you're in self, you're in ego. It's very, I want to stay safe. I need to stay alive. You're not worried about your neighbor. You're not loving, because it's like, if I have to stay safe and stay alive, I'm not going to be, I'm not open to the love frequency.
Yes, and the love frequency,
And it's a very more narrow, lower vibration of fear, worry,
you cannot
anxiety.
Expand.
Yeah, because your everything is like, we need to stay safe, we need to stay alive. So if you think about it, so say when we're more in these states of quote unquote high vibrational states, when our nervous system is responding to music and others, we're open to more healing capacities and open to love, and magical things happen.
So it's so interesting because you say when we are in we go in a high vibrational state, and then people think high means high, like loud and a tune that is a high tune.
No,
but it's the opposite. It's like we go into grounding and into like a safe space, and that doesn't mean that you have to have a high note or tune.
Correct,
It's actually the opposite, and then from there you start to create.
Yes.
And that's so interesting, because I think there is a lot of misunderstanding out there about being in a high vibe, and because people speak about that not like you do, or like to bring that knowledge to the people. So I think that's very important for the future, that we understand actually to be in a high vibe means to be grounded.
It does, yes. And thank you for clarifying that, because yes, it is a common misunderstanding. And also like the energy centers in our body, the chakra system, it's like if we're grounded, that's our safety. So I like to create that even with music, like with the children, with the ocean drum, they're like in the womb, and it's like, I'm safe, and they can relax to let the healing capacities work. Or if it's like when we're in our sacral chakra, which is creativity, joy, play, receiving pleasure, and feeling allowed to receive pleasure. If our safety is compromised, your body and brain aren't creating. People get creator's block. They're like, I can't create, I have no creativity, I can't write. It's like, okay, let's address the grounding, the safety, and then that opens to where the frequency just keeps opening.
And then when you're safe here, you are in a high state of creation. And that's the high vibe. And then everything comes together.
So it's very complex than just, I'm going to listen to 888 and I'm going to get this $1 million advance. It's very complex, and that's why I'm grateful for you as in your gifts and guiding people and aligning with you and Michael in this space, because it is important to have like a guide and a safe place for someone to discover themselves and find their own unique gifts and their own place of the safety, belonging, and working through what they need to really expand.
Yeah, and also to explore, you know, so many people now come in touch with frequencies, Tesla did that first frequency thing, but this is really just the surface of everything. So it's so much more behind. And then it's good to have a center like this that people can ask questions, that they can explore, that they can feel safe, and that they can also just be there and just kind of receiving for the first time a sound bath, a soul song, going into the voice energy. So everything connects with each other. So thank you so much that you were brave enough to listen to your guides and to your spirits and to your owl to create Sound Birth Center here in Los Angeles. Yeah. Do you want to share one last thing to the community, to the world, about your journey, about sound healing, or whatever is in your heart?
Yes, what is in my heart is just to have an open heart and an open mind. Follow the curiosity, the joy of not just even sound, but anything that sparks that within you. And everyone is deserving of love and calm and their expansion, and they have these beautiful gifts within them as well. And I am very heart-centered in anyone trying to come just experience a sound bath. And thank you so much. That is just
thank you so
my
much,
more than
Adrienne.
one-liner.
Yeah, that's you express from the heart, and that's the most important part. Yes, I just can agree with that. Follow your joy, follow that, what you really brings curiosity, joy, and happiness. Because happiness and joy and explore is one of the highest frequency that grounds you into your evolution and also into your next step. So don't be afraid about your own power. Don't be afraid about your own energy, and celebrate it more. So go into the state of celebration, your past, your now, your future, and everything is right here, right now, and then you go from there. So celebration is the word that I would say is the ending of this podcast. Yay. So celebrate your energy, celebrate your frequency, and then look what will unfold from there. So thank you so much for listening to our We Talk Frequency episode today with this beautiful sound healer and heart power soul, Adrienne from the Sound Birth Center in LA. You can be in contact with her. Everything is here on the podcast. So her website that they can reach out to you, explore. They have passes that you can do the classes. So thank you for being here, listening to us, and let's see how we can celebrate life into many different forms. So thank you so much for this. Bye.
Thank you.